Yeah.
What's going on, YouTube? It has been a minute, but I'm back. Finally about to give you the highly pushed back review for Drake's Scorpion. Drake is, of course, the Toronto rapper and singer who needs no introduction. If you want one, check out my More Life review that I put out last year. But Drake, though, has been not so on top as of lately, as he's been dealing with a lot of scrutiny in regard for the baby mama allegations, the child allegations, which I covered perfectly on my Daytona review that I put up earlier this month. Check that out. So everyone was wondering how Drake was going to respond. Well, he decided to give us a two-sided album, 25 tracks. Damn, this shit is long. So side A starts off with Survival, which is supposed to be the hip-hop side. As far as production-wise, to me it sounded a lot like 9 off of Views, except for a little less airy, a little bit flatter. I mean, he's getting some stuff off of his chest on this song. He's defending his dad, talking about how he's been coping with some of the issues for the past month or two, saying that the Mount Rushmore is him with 4 different faces, throwing some subliminals out there at Meek, some subliminals at Good Music. Overall, this isn't really drawing me into the album the way that I wished it would. Usually Drake comes out with a fire starting track. This just wasn't it. From Survival, we get Non-Stop, which, although is super basic flows, super basic trap beat, it still fucking slaps. And the bass is super heavy. I love the Memphis samples in there on like the hook of the song. Drake is just able to ride this for some reason. I don't have a problem with this song. It's actually grown on me quite a bit. Then we get Elevate, which I absolutely love the production on this. I love the very angelic sound of the production. Drake on this one was doing the sing rapping on this. I think at times his delivery was a little bit His pitches seemed off in spots, especially on the hook of the song. We then get Emotionless. This is a standout track of mine. I absolutely love the Mariah Carey sample on the beat, and Drake is just straight up rapping on this one. This is the Drake that I love. When he just comes in, he's just rapping for a solid 3-4 minutes. He's definitely addressing some things on here, questioning the people around him like he normally does, except this time around I think it's more so fired at Good Music. He also has the quote in there about women saving pictures on their phones so that way they could repost them later on so they always seem like they're on the road. That is a basic bitch Instagram caption in the making if it already isn't. But then the one line, of course, wasn't hiding my kid from the world. I was hiding the world from my kid. Ugh. Kind of a cop-out. Then we get God's Plan, of course, a standout track of mine. This shit is a fucking anthem. Very catchy, feel-good song. I wasn't really feeling it at first, the first time I had heard it back in January, but it's definitely grown on me throughout the year. Super airy beat. Again, just super catchy. She said, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed. And then after God's Plan, we get I'm Upset, which is actually the 3rd track released as far as single-wise before the release of this. This is probably his most disappointing single I think he's put out in a long time. Although it has grown on me, I'm not gonna lie, it is catchy. I love saying I'm upset anytime I get mad. The beat is still a little bit drab. His flows are a little bit lazy. Maybe shots at his baby moms, talking about having to pay bills every month, thinking she could get what she wants. Can't go 50-50 with no hope. And then 8 out of 10 comes in. This is another standout track of mine. I love the soulful boom bap production on this, and Drake is again just straight up rapping. And this is pretty much the most subliminal response that we're going to get to the Pusha T beef on the entire album, saying stuff like the only dead beats are the ones that I'm rapping on, and then kiss my son on the forehead and then kiss your ass goodbye. It has just a very triumphant sound to it as well. But then a streak of a couple bad songs. We get Mob Ties. This shit is fucking terrible. Why do you want to sound like Young Thug so bad? He literally sounds just like Young Thug throughout this entire song. And I don't like Young Thug. I've openly said that on this channel. Let me get to Can't Take a Joke. This sounds very, very similar to Mob Ties. Just another very genetic, boring trap beat. And his vocal pitches and inflections on this song just don't fit with the production. It doesn't sound right. Then we get Sandra's Rose. We're getting back on track. Another nice, dope boom bap beat produced by DJ Premier. This is the first time that both of them have worked together. Kind of has a nice ode to his mom on it, while still being very braggadocious and trying to come at some people. He takes some shots at Charlemagne. He also has the line about if they want a classic, just give them 10 of these songs. I thought it was pretty clever. We then get Talk Up, which is a standout of mine. The beat on this one, produced by DJ Paul of 3 6 Mafia. Shit bangs. Love the sample too with the NWA. It's just very trunk knocking southern. Drake sounded very hard on this and his flows were switching up. I like that. Surprise verse by Jay-Z, who they have been beefing for a while now, as we all know. Drops a surprise verse, and Jay-Z sounded dope as hell on this song. But then the last song on side A closes out with Is There More? Not a good way to close it out. The beat on this one I was not feeling. One of the worst beats especially on side A. It's just too airy, too spacey and it's just too much. And that was just side A. Now we get to side B. Starts with peak, Aries production style, but it's definitely slower, smoother, has that R&B type of sound, which is what side B was supposed to be going for. Drake's getting his singing on, he's in his feels. He sounds a lot like Party Next Door on this one. I don't know if maybe he helped co-write or if he was influenced by him at all, but a nice start to the R&B side. And then it goes to Summer Games, which in my opinion is one of the most interesting songs. Definitely a change of pace on this album. Production wise, has some very nice tribal drums going on in there and nice electronic-y synth pop progressions. Drake is singing, harmonizing very well over this type of production. It's something different. It's something unique that I haven't really heard Drake do before. Then we get Jaded, which is another slower R&B type sounding beat. Pretty sure I heard Ty Dolla $ign there in the background harmonizing with you. I see you, Ty. I see you. You've been killing it. Another good R&B song from him. I just think it drags a little bit more than it needs to, but still a pretty decent track. We get Nice for What. This is the second single that came out. This is a standout track of mine. Production-wise, very clubby, has that New Orleans bounce type of feel with it with the dope Lauryn Hill sample. Very upbeat, and it's a women's anthem. Gotta hit 'em with the angles. And it's very empowering in a classy way, pretty much showing women that they could be themselves without having to please anybody. A real one, your reflection. Only gripe I have against this is just I don't think it really fit with this R&B side. I think this should have been on the hip-hop side. Then it goes back to the slower jams with Finesse, another slow R&B beat. Love the reverby pianos in there, gives it a nice melancholy feel that fits in with Drake's simpin' ass. I thought he sounded good on this one. I wish that the song kind of progressed in a different way than it did, but overall another solid R&B track on here. Then we get Ratchet Happy Birthday, which is straight up dumpster juice. This is the cringeworthiest song on the entire album. Beat is so bland. Drake makes a birthday sound absolutely boring as hell. His lyrics on this are so cringy. Reese's, don't be ridiculous. And his auto-tuning is just no. Absolutely no. It's your that is also a no. We then get That's How You Feel, which really actually grew on me. It's a standout track of mine. I think it's very catchy. He's sing-rapping all over this kind of like, it's a spacey hip-hop sounding type of song, kind of reverbed. He just sounds very in his pocket over this production. I like the incorporations on this song of the Nicki Minaj live samples. We then get Blue Tint, which to me is definitely a simpler and more bland version of the song Goosebumps by Travis Scott and Kendrick Lamar. Production-wise, same exact tempo, just instead it's layered with guitars and pianos, not as wavy, a little bit more basic and plain. Drake is flowing the exact same way that Travis and Kendrick do on Goosebumps. Thought I would never say this, but I wish that we had gotten more from Future. He's actually featured on this song, but really only comes in for a brief part of the hook. Thought it would have been nice to kind of throw it back to like What a Time to Be Alive. From here we get In My Feelings. Kiki, do you love me? Yes, I fucking like this shit. Love the production on it. It's got these very soft pianos and harps on here over the very clubby New Orleans bounce type of track. Love the New Orleans vocal snippets throughout here. I'm just very shocked that this actually became like the biggest song so far from this album. And then we get Don't Matter to Me. Easily my favorite song on the entire project. I thought it was the best produced pop and R&B song on here. Thought it was the best written. Thought it was the best delivery from Drake and one of the catchiest songs on the entire project. And of course, had Michael Jackson on the hook. A lot of people were up in arms. Oh, how could you use Michael Jackson on your song? Although I do think that he didn't add anything that maybe The Weeknd couldn't have added. Even though the vocal clip for Michael sounded a little bit low quality, it's still unmistakably Michael. Still unmistakably rocked it. And then it follows with After Dark, another dope song on here. Tell me this does not sound like something that Timbaland and Justin Timberlake wouldn't have put on like their Future Sex Love Sounds album back in like '06. Production wise, it just kind of fits that same mold. I don't know if that's you, Static Major, that was on the hook going After Dark. You killed it. Ty Dolla $ign, you nailed it. I thought Drake was the most disappointing part of this song, to be completely honest with you. At least his verse was. But overall, I still think it sounded good. We get Final Fantasy, which I like the first portion of the track where Drake is just rap over a nice beat. It has a very moody harp in there. Kind of gives a nice aesthetic, but then it switches over after a dumb Maury skit. Switches over to a slower R&B song where he's slashing like Guns N' Roses, Vomit. And then the last song on side B is March 14th. This song was supposed to be the song that really addresses his son, when and how he found out that he was going to become a dad. Also talking about, I guess, a tattoo that he has that he got from for some girl, but now has new meaning to it after becoming a father, and now is resemblance of his son. But overall, I think that this could have been done a little bit better. To me, this sounds more of like a toast to him having a son more than like a toast to his actual son. So in conclusion, this could have been way, way shorter. And this didn't need to be two-sided, especially because I felt like the way that the sides were paced, it didn't really make sense. Some of the songs from side A sounded like they could have been on side B. Some of the rap songs from side B should have been on side A. So I don't really know why there was the need for the two different sides. Obviously, there was more of an R&B sound on side B than on side A. But the way everything was paced out still didn't really make sense. And just in general, some of these songs sounded either very out of place or they just sounded very rushed. And I think part of this had to do with the whole Pusha T beef. And I think this kind of shows that he wasn't in control of his own narrative on this album. I think that if this didn't happen, the album would have sounded way different. I also didn't really care for the fact that he was kind of painting himself as kind of like a victim while still taking jabs at others, and all while at the same time not really addressing the issues of his baby mom and his child as much as he probably could have and should have. If you give me like 15 to 17 songs, I think that this would be definitely better. If you give me 12 to 15 songs, I think this would definitely be on par with some of his better material. but the way that it sits, I give this a very, very generous 6 out of 10 overall. Again, this is just my opinion, and thank you for watching YouTube.